The Investigative Team Show.
Call in the T.I.T.S. Do you need a movie review? Call in the T.I.T.S.
Alien. Are we recording?
Yep.
Alien, the one that started it all. Intro music. Start music intro. Alien, the one that started it all. And that's when you should add the music.
That goes post. Post music goes in post.
Yeah. But that's Alien, the one that started it all. That's what, I don't know, use one of them. All right, Alien. Alien is one spooky ass film, man. It's some scary sci-fi. I was watching it, and the beginning, just the whole beginning, when you just see this camera shot, and it's going through the cockpit, and then it goes to the hallways, and then it comes to the sleeping chamber where they are. It's very eerie, and I think I'd be scared shit on that spaceship. It's spooky as shit, especially the bottom part where the maintenance guys work.
Yeah.
With the chains and, it's
all
like
those establishing shots early on. They show you how everything's like tight corridors and small spaces.
And
so you're already claustrophobic before anything even happens.
Dark corridors, dim lighting, No wonder an alien would hide out in that fucking... right? But it's a spooky fucking film, man. When I saw it, I didn't see it in the theaters. I saw it on HBO as a kid.
I did.
You saw it in the theaters?
We didn't last very long because I was scared shit. We had to leave.
Yeah, I didn't see that movie till we had HBO in our town. And
79, I was 7 or 8 years old.
Yeah.
So, that was no place to bring a 7 or 8 year old.
Yeah, well,
to see
you were
Alien
younger
on
than
the big
me.
Screen.
I think we got cable in 80 or 81. So, and they probably replayed it
right
one of those years. So I was about 9 or 10.
Yeah.
And my old man let me watch it. And I was fucking screaming when it was over. And my dad's taking me to bed, and I'm fucking screaming like a madman. And my mom was like, "Why did you let him watch the movie? It wasn't good." And they're fighting, and I'm freaking out, and I'm screaming my ass off. So
tell me more about the opening shot.
The opening shot, but that's a good little story there, don't you think? How it impacted me as a kid.
Yeah.
And now I'm a fucking old man.
Yep.
And now it's still a spooky film.
It's still scary.
Yeah. That they were planning to make that a B movie. They took it to Roger Corman's studio, and they were going to green light it.
You know what? Corman would have made a great movie out of it, but it would have been a different
It would have
movie.
been ass.
Yeah, but I love Corman's movies.
Yeah, I mean...
they're so
horrible. I mean, you got to give him a lot of credit for...
But he does tell good stories and give us good characters. He has good character development.
What's that one movie?
Even with the worst dialogue and everything.
I have it at home. I just bought it like 3 years ago. His version of, intergalactic mercenaries coming together.
Space Raiders,
yeah.
Yeah, it's a good movie. I just watched that a week ago.
Yeah, it's really corny, but as a kid, I thought it was fucking dope.
Of course. It's still cool.
It is still cool. No, it is. But then
For
you're like,
what
wow,
little money
this
he
is
has.
really... There's some interesting shit in it, and then stuff is...
He's a master of the budget.
Yeah, and stuff was like really fucking corny, and I'm like...
People do stuff with twice the budget, and it looks like
filmed
it with a
there's
camcorder.
A lot of shit. I mean, we're going to do an episode, ladies and gentlemen, called Burn the Negative. And it's about us discussing about... This will be like, a show that'll be thrown in between us reviewing other stuff. And we'll have lists of movies that the negatives should be found all over the earth and burned to a crisp. And every...
Exterminated.
Exterminate, and every possible hard drive But these negatives.
Nah, digital copies can go because eventually
Yeah,
computers.
yeah,
will fade
yeah,
away.
they'll fade in the new technology.
Yeah,
So
we have
let's
to,
just
we
burn
have to
the
get
negative.
to the archive houses.
Yeah, we got to go to the studio.
Yeah, because VCR tapes don't last forever.
No,
DVDs don't last forever. But the archive,
Yeah, but celluloid also deteriorates. But
we have to go in there with a list
oh yeah,
and a can of kerosene.
we're gonna both of us are gonna have just lists, and we're gonna just fucking douche on these movies. It's gonna be fucking hilarious. And I would give a shit if the filmmakers contact us or not. Because I made movies too, bro, and I went to film school, and I understand what it is to make a movie.
Sure.
And
see, there's-
I still appreciate people who make movies. It's fucking hard. There's millions of stories I could tell you that there's guys and gals who made movies and they spent a shitload of money on it and they went fucking nowhere. And you have to dig deep down to find these films.
I think your wisest bet as a filmmaker is to do something that's very minimalist if it's going to tell a good story. And if not, then you should intentionally make good schlock because you're on a budget. You know, these days, you know, you cannot compete with, you know, the big movie houses. So
Well, there's
you're
all
better
levels.
off making intentional schlock. Like
Right.
make a good
There-
piece of schlock.
There's all levels of
You
filmmaking.
know, like
now.
Napoleon Dynamite. You know what I mean? That was
was quality though.
It's
MTV
it's good
backed
schlock.
that.
Yeah, but that movie could have also been done on like 25% of the budget because it's all just
Like a Kevin Smith.
yeah, it's all
Clerks.
just you know these
Yeah.
scenes with you know people doing their thing. There's not a
Right.
lot of action or anything.
Right.
You know, so you know make good schlock.
I
on a
like
budget.
schlock. There's a lot of schlock out there.
Anyway, Alien is not schlock. They
Alien
spent quite a
is-
bit. They doubled their.
Anyway,
They doubled their budget on that film halfway through.
the new one.
No, Alien.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
1979. It doubled its budget.
Yeah,
a lot
so
of
there's-
that budget went to the room with the space jockey.
Yeah. Which is your favorite?
That's one of my favorite scenes of all time.
What do I have written down? Rob loves the space jockey. No, because you're like, this is bullshit, man. Because that was a different alien, and they just decided to make the engineers. That's why you get so pissed off about Prometheus.
I have
You're like,
that.
that's
in
bullshit,
my
man.
notes for
we're not bred from a super fucking human being. Blah blah blah. I was like,
Yeah, that's you're jumping way ahead on my list.
it's
I'm still
okay.
at the
We'll come
opening
back to it.
shot.
But I just wanted to say because I was like, Rob always talks about that, and it's like it's
Yeah,
true
Space
because it
Jockey
looks
always had
like
an
some
impact
kind
on
of
me.
it looks like some kind of like elephant alien with the big nose.
Yeah, just something crazy and
Right.
otherworldly and
Another
weird
world,
and
huge beast.
is it
too,
a
right?
machine? Is it an organism? Like it's a little bit of both. It's growing out of the chair. Is it growing into the chair?
Well, it burst
Really
out.
fucking strange.
So there must have been a queen that went around and laid those eggs and then died, right? Because there's no queen. They don't find a queen.
Well, we just got we have Prometheus and we have Covenant, and we see that David. This is all taking place before the '79 film. So we see what David's doing with all of this. So David, as the first egg, was created by David. We got to the egg he used Shaw and blah blah blah.
Right,
blah.
right.
So now we get our proto face hugger, and then we get our first proto Xenomorph. It's very close. He's like one step away. So, how does again? Watching the movie then, I still had the question now, even after watching these recent movies, where the fuck did the eggs come from in the derelict ship on LV-426?
Well, then that
has to be answered.
Well, that's an engineer's ship, so maybe it went on its own course and it got.
But it has eggs, which David created.
Well, I don't know how it's going to match up. I have no idea.
So somehow,
yeah, no, these are good questions.
Yeah.
I just
I say the engineers track David down, and it's the engineers versus
who knows?
the Xenomorphs.
Yeah.
And one of those ships has a queen on it and crash lands on LV-426.
I'll tell you, I
and
didn't
it
like.
has a whole cargo full of fucking
Yeah.
eggs. It's the only explanation I can think of.
Yeah, I didn't know where it's going to go. I tell you the truth, I didn't like Covenant that much. I think they totally.
The
like
more
you
I
always
watched
say,
it,
like
the
you
more
always
I
say,
liked it, but it pissed me off a little when I first saw it.
when you
It
always
was a
say,
spectacle.
because I never use this as much, or I never heard it as much, but you always go, "Yep, they phoned it in."
Yeah, I say that a lot.
Yep, and they fucking
It felt like they phoned it in the first time I watched it.
Big time.
Yeah. But you know what? The more I watched
time.
it, the more I understood. And this is where I think that at first, because I didn't catch on because there was so much going on, and the pacing was just much faster than I'm used to from Ridley Scott. But the thing about it was the first time is I didn't really catch everything. The second time around, I noticed that he was trying to do too much. He was trying to be the philosophical part, the action part, the drama part.
Well, that's what I'm talking. He rushed it.
He was trying to get all these.
rushed.
Now he's trying to have all these questions about the
Prometheus
engineers, and now we have to learn about
time.
David, and
Yeah.
so we're thinking about all these things, and we're missing a lot of the stuff that actually happened. So I watched it again. And I kind of sat back from that, and I started noticing it. I wound up liking it more. And I get the Blu-ray when it comes out. I'll probably wind up liking it even more. Same thing with Prometheus. The first time I saw Prometheus, I was very disappointed.
As much as I didn't
Now I like it.
I didn't like it. Of course, I'm going to have to get the Blu-ray. It's part of the archives. You need reference films. You'll be with people, and they're like, that scene in that movie, and I'll be like, I got the movie. Let's just put it in the fucking drive and watch it, and then we can discuss it more. So I'm so big on having you kids out there start collecting your little archives. You can start regular DVDs, Blu-rays, VHS, Laserdisc, whatever. It's cool to have different eras of technology on certain subject matter because it's interesting how it progresses over the years. The artwork on the box, what extra stuff they add to it, like supplementaries of behind the scenes artists. They dive into it even more.
That's the one thing I like about Blu-rays these days is that they've been jam-packing them because they need to sell, so they're just jam-packing everything.
Oh
now.
yeah,
every Blu-ray feels like a box set now, with all the extra stuff.
Oh yeah, well they have to. They just have to. That's
back when the movie came out.
The
All we had
people
was
want
a
it, too.
theatrical version, and then we had to wait years for it to come out on cable. And all you got was a little, HBO thing before it. And now these days is access to everything. You're a click away.
Yeah, you have to. The people want it. The fans want it. They want to know more. They want more. They want more. That's why Disney's going
stuff.
fucking crazy now with all the Star Wars shit after shit. Oh my god!
They got
the theme park. We gotta go.
I know. I do want to go. I have
Do you
to
know how
see
many
it.
people are gonna go to the theme
I
park?
saw the model of it. Did you see the model?
Yeah. Oh, it's dope, dude. Fuck Disneyland. Everybody's gonna go to this.
Yeah.
Oh, dude,
that's the problem as well.
And there's people.
You don't want to go there when it's elbow to elbow, shoulder to shoulder.
Dude,
you want to go there when it's empty. And
but
you
do
can
you
walk
understand?
Around and
this is going to be the biggest cosplay fucking park.
Big time.
People are going to dress up like it's the cantina.
Yeah. Plus all the employees are going to be dressed.
Yeah, they're going to dress up too. So it's going to be
respective areas.
Yeah, it's going to be fucking crazy. It's going to be like this. It's going to be like
they should make a
the
Nostromo
Renaissance Festival.
and Derelict craft.
Yeah.
Park would be pretty fucking cool.
Oh, which one?
A ride where you go on the Nostromo.
Oh yeah, totally.
And then you have the Derelict craft, and you have the space jockey room. That would just be, and the egg chamber.
Yeah,
that'd be pretty badass.
I don't think
that's never gonna happen.
20th Century Fox, they own all the rights to the aliens.
I don't know, man.
I don't know
what respect Ridley Scott now has, because it seems like he's calling all the shots.
It'd be interesting to do
It's
that.
his thing
You would
now.
just have to give the rights over to the people in the park to make the thing, and everything's negotiable. So if you gave them the rights for a while to do the theme park, and they got money on, on percentage points or upfront or whatever, it's all, Because I was thinking Disney could do a fucking alien section.
They have enough money to do whatever the fuck they want.
Yeah, I mean they could be like, hey, we'll give you whatever percentage points they're using.
Yeah, but they're not gonna dust off something from 40 years ago. They're gonna
people would
do
go
whatever. They're gonna do Valerian.
People would go.
Avengers.
People
Batman.
would go. People are gonna go to the Star Wars.
The Star Wars thing is that's gonna be out of control.
There's a huge replica.
It's gonna be really fucking cool, man.
There's a huge replica of the Falcon. A fucking Falcon we could stand under.
My entire life, I wanted to go in the Falcon and hang out on the couch where Chewie and 3PO and R2 played that weird chess game.
Yeah.
and I always wanted to sit in the turret,
Yeah.
and I always wanted to sit in an X-wing.
Yeah.
And I guess we'll have that opportunity.
When The Force Awakens was being made, Abrams invited Kevin Smith over to go see the prop of.
He must have shit his pants.
Yeah, he tells us in a story, one of his podcasts, or I heard it online. It's a really great story. He's a really good storyteller, man. Like he's one.
He
of
has
those
his moments.
Yeah, I don't know. He just has a way about himself.
But I think, to me personally, he has more moments where I think he's a hack. But he does. But the moments that he does have, I'm like, oh yeah, nailed it.
But I think he's pretty genuine. No, I think he's a real.
Yeah. Oh no, I think he's earnest. I don't think he's.
I think he's the real. He's the real deal.
I don't think he's trying to appeal to any. You know.
I just think it was a real. He tells this other story about a friend who would come from the city, and he had a whole collection of Star Wars figures, and he would bring them, and they would play with them every summer, and he didn't have as much. And
I lost a bunch in the winter.
Yeah. But
Star Wars Empire Strikes Back shit in the snow.
Yeah.
I lost a bunch of shit. in the
Yeah,
snow.
I used to do that in the snow too. But anyway, Abrams invited Smith to the set, and he walked around the mock-up of the Falcon, and he said he lost it. He was like, "Oh my God," as a kid, and blah blah blah. I was like, "Oh my God, I want to go do that too. Why can't I go in that?" I'm like, "You suck. You connected.
Nuts.
You know all these fucking people." Like, Abrams calls him up.
Yeah, I know.
He's hanging out at his house and doing whatever the fuck he's doing. And Abrams calls him and says, "Hey, you want to come to the set?" "Yeah. Let me smoke some weed first so I can get really high and happy about this and then march my ass in that direction." Fucking classic. Anyway.
Yeah, let's get back to Alien.
Let's get back to Alien. You fucking guys. Can you stay on point? That's why I tell you, we have to get notes. We gotta have the notes. I gotta read all my excerpts and bullet points.
Let's talk about Ash.
Let's
talk about Ash replacing the original science officer 2 days before the mission. So he has motives that
He's a great actor, that guy.
Suspect. And we finally learn, as Sigourney Weaver's character does.
Right.
Which is fucking pretty sweet. It was very well executed, very well done.
When you see the piece of little milk coming down his fucking side of his face.
The whole movie, there's very little exposition. So much story is being told with these characters.
You bring that up.
Just by their presence.
And I'm watching that scene the other night, and I was thinking, oh man, here's Blade Runner in here too. With the androids.
He is saying there is a possibility that they are connected. The Tyrell Core.
Yeah.
And Wayland's,
well, you know what? There's a scene in Blade
Android
Runner
production. There's a connection.
There's a scene in Blade Runner, 1 or 2 shots that were from Alien that was edited in Blade Runner.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I think I saw something once where they were saying there was a computer monitor that mentioned either in one of the Alien movies mentioned Tyrell Core, or it might have been the other way around in Blade Runner, where there was a screen that mentioned Wayland somewhere. But
not just that.
I'm not sure what that is.
But the idea, like, all right, it becomes a story of like another species attacking another species in outer space, which is dope alone.
Yeah.
And then, let's bring an android into the picture.
Within your own kind, yeah.
Yeah, you're like, wow, this is real sci-fi. It's like total sci-fi. It's so subtle, and good science fiction takes its time and goes slow. That's why when you talk to people, like, I didn't understand the movie, because you're a fucking idiot.
I was saying that the last time we recorded. I was saying I don't mind when movies take their time.
The best science fiction
and when they
goes slow.
When the movie doesn't appeal to the lowest common denominator.
Yeah, exactly.
Think for you.
Yes. I don't. That's why I liked.
Yeah.
I liked.
Don't hold my hand. I'll figure it out. Just let me live in this universe with you.
Exactly.
And another cool thing about that is what brings you even closer into the movie is that 90% of the movie is all handheld camera work, and Ridley Scott did all of that himself. That was all him with a handheld, holding the camera, chasing people around. He's got these great shots from the floor. It's amazing the camera angles he got in that ship, using same corridors over and over again, and they feel like the ship is huge. So convincing.
He he just did that movie, The Duelists, and they always reference that, like, oh, he just did that movie, and people are like, that movie was all right.
Yeah.
But then he did the
Martian.
I forget what he did after, but The Duelist was the big.
Martian was first, then Duelist.
I'm not too sure,
I think Martian was first.
but The Duelist.
Martian was great to look at. It wasn't a bad movie. I just thought it was really. It felt like it was done like by a studio. It was so the characters.
I don't think I saw that.
And all that stuff. Yeah, you and I went to see that in the theater. He gets stranded on Mars.
The
I'm gonna
Duelist.
science the shit out of this.
No, The Duelist is one of his early films.
I mentioned Martian. That's where I was. I thought,
You fucking
I asked
lunatic.
which was first, and you're like, "Oh, I don't think I saw that."
I was like, Martian. I was like, he did a movie
The
earlier
Duelist,
than
I
The
have
Duelist?
not seen yet.
Yeah, it's one of his older shit that got him known to say, hey.
Oh,
let
so
this
that was
guy.
his early. That might have been his
Yeah,
earliest film.
yeah. And then he
before-
did Alien.
Then he did Alien. Okay.
Yeah.
So so
But
that was
long-
first.
But
Martian was what? 2
Yeah.
years? 2 years ago?
that
A year ago?
That was another movie you phoned it in.
That was, that.
I was
okay.
like, everybody's
the directing
like,
was
jerked off
good.
to that.
The directing
I
and the
love
art
Mars
direction
stuff, too,
was
yeah.
very good.
Yeah.
But he didn't write the movie, and the movie was just really. It was just.
It was corny.
It was
It was corny.
It was.
It was so corny. It was overacting. A lot of people, the little actors, had so dramatic. I was like, please.
Yeah.
And the way he became like a YouTube sensation, like, I'm gonna science the shit out of this.
I know.
I was like,
I mean,
it's fucking
it's
corny. And I like Matt Damon.
Right.
I like Matt Damon a lot. He's a good
If
actor.
you look at an outline for the film,
but fuck
you're
that.
like, oh, this is a
Yeah.
cool film. We got a pro science, exciting adventure, and it's realistic. It's something that can happen in the near future. So you're looking at this outline, you're like, yeah, wow, and he survives on his own. It's Robinson Crusoe on
Right.
fucking Mars.
Right.
Learning to survive. He's got to create oxygen. He's got to
Right.
create food. He's got to figure out a way to communicate and survive. But the dialogue was just,
Yeah,
he
yeah.
wasn't as bad as everything else going on.
Yeah,
in the
there
movie.
was
especially the shit going on at NASA and all that stuff. It was
There was a
ridiculous.
scene where this young, smart, like, astrophysics
oh yeah, I
black
remember him.
kid
Yeah,
comes
yeah,
in
yeah.
and he's very dramatic how he tells the
how
story.
to slingshot him around.
Yeah, and he walks around, and then what's his
Oh,
name?
nobody
was like,
ever thought of Kepler's laws, before.
And then
Idiot.
yeah, exactly. And then the guy, I forget the actor who was in the head of the mission and the whole space agency, and he's like, "All right, now you can get out of my face with that presentation." I was like, "This fucking movie's corny, man."
It was really corny.
It was fucking corny. I was like, it was corny.
Yeah, that kid never would have been in that room in the first place.
Yeah. Well, regardless, I mean, it was kind of condescending. It was kind of, I don't know, it was just stupid, corny movie, and I was disappointed. I was like, this looks dope.
It's the opposite of Alien because
Yeah.
it's nothing but exposition.
And everyone's like,
In
"Did
an
you read the
Alien,
book? Did
you
you
don't
read the
have-
book?"
You have no exposition in
Yeah.
Alien. Very little.
Right.
I mean, the most you have, but the most you have really in exposition is when, she asks Ash about the creature, and he talks about your chances and how he admires its purity and all that stuff.
Oh yeah.
So but other than that, there's really no. The movie just tells it by itself, but the characters just present themselves so convincingly.
Oh
And
yeah.
we feel like they're there because the constant movement with the camera.
Well, that it's science fiction that we believe it's plausible. That's why we love it.
Even if it isn't, it feels that way because it was created that way.
Right. But it's so overwhelming that we accept it immediately because it's believable.
Yeah.
They figured out how to do anti-gravity in space. Okay? We sleep in hibernation chambers to get to far distances.
That opening shot with the cryo chamber.
Yeah, it's dope.
So Kubrick.
Yeah.
So 2001. But it's great.
But it's
And the music, everything there is so subtle and awesome.
Oh,
It's it's great.
I mean, it's just it's creepy and cool at the same time.
Yeah, the tension.
Yeah.
The tension is with you the entire movie, and it just ramps up.
And that's what I like about Aliens,
Yeah.
because
But then it drops again at the end, and it picks up again because oh shit, here it is. It's stuck.
right,
It's stuck in the pipes in the wall.
right.
That scene is But I don't want to jump ahead to the ending scene. I definitely don't want to jump ahead to the ending scene.
Oh, we were talking about Ash, though.
Ash and his motives.
Yeah. Well, he was programmed to follow what Mother said, and Mother said, there's a beacon.
Collect a specimen at all costs. Crew expendable.
If it was something like that. If it was something like that, exactly. And
when he attacks Ripley and pushes her down, that scene always puzzled me.
Yeah.
Because he's an android. He
Yeah.
could have snapped her neck. He could have turned her skull into powder.
Well, I don't think his ambition was to kill.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. He pushes her into Parker's bunk with all the nude pictures on the wall.
Yeah.
Picks up a magazine, rolls it up, and tries to choke her with it.
Yeah.
Now, that's probably Parker's Playboy or Hustler.
No, he was planning, but I don't think at first he wanted to kill anybody.
Yeah. Well, regardless, Ripley survives the Xenomorph, but winds up with mouth herpes.
Yeah. Paper mouth herpes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's his motives. We had to do, and
but we don't know it beforehand. Like the movie's not holding her hand like what most modern movies do. That's its brilliance, is that we find out when Ripley finds out.
What's his name again? The actor?
Ian Holm.
Ian Holm.
Yeah.
Is first of all, he's a great fucking actor.
He's awesome. Yeah.
He's been in so many movies that are so good. He's awesome in Brazil.
Yeah.
You got to watch.
Repeat viewing of the movie is good too, because once you've seen the movie, you know he's a synthetic and he's hiding his identity and his orders from Wayland.
Yeah.
So when you watch it again, you're looking at him and that, like, holy shit, like how he's trying to blend in, and Ripley is analyzing when they go off onto the planet's surface, and Ripley's analyzing the distress signal,
right?
And she said it looks more like a warning, and he brushes it off and says, "Oh, what's the point?"
Right.
By the time the message gets to him, they'll already be there. And so once you watch it again, you're like, you see why he's so dismissive, and why he was so quick also to open the door when she says, "No, we have to follow quarantine protocols."
Right.
So he decides to open the door. So it's like, oh shit. So it's like, yeah, now all that stuff makes sense. But at the same time, even if he wasn't synthetic, the scene still makes sense, because it's like, yeah, what am I going to do? I'm going to leave them out there? Am I going to leave them out there to die? We have to get him help. But again, Ripley's consistently makes the right decision.
Can you open the goddamn doors, please? we got to get him inside.
Yeah.
Just open the doors. Ripley, this is an order. Can you open the doors? Ass. Yeah, he's a great actor. Great scene. Creepy shit, man. The android that's going to kill you, Fucking scary. The production value and set design is amazing.
I say 96% of it holds today.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. There's just a very, very, very few
It
things.
is our 2001: A Space Odyssey in a way.
Yeah.
In that time, as young kids.
It was very well done.
Because I wasn't born when 2001 came
Everything about the movie's convincing,
I watched
except
it
for
later.
maybe the explosion of the Nostromo.
But yeah, that's why I'm going back, because
I think back then they could have done something better.
It's very plausible.
Yeah.
Big ship. It's not a space opera. It's not X-wings and the Millennium Falcon going through.
They could have had high-speed cameras on those models and blow them up.
That's why Aliens is great too, because Cameron takes, it just follows the next step. You know? And she's so good in that, because she continues her character from Alien,
right?
And it's amazing. She's like, I'm telling you, I'm not fucking going back up there. Fuck you. I'm not going back up there.
The movies equally as good, but they're two different kinds of movies.
Yeah.
But
I just like how her character,
horror movie, the second one's an action movie.
Yeah.
But they're both perfect in their genres. It's a perfect horror movie, and it's a perfect action movie.
Yeah.
And as the story, it's the perfect sequel.
But Alien towards the end becomes an action movie too.
It does. Well, yeah, obviously. There's the ticking clock.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
it's picked everyone off.
How about,
She's the last
when
one.
she's setting
Well,
the
her
fucking,
and Jonesy.
she sets the ship to auto destruct. That's such a cool sequence.
Yeah.
I emailed you that shot. It's like 10
And
minus.
I like when she puts the screw things in. And
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
Because it would be a process. It wouldn't be, you know what I mean? And it's just believable.
Yeah, putting the key in and putting the handle and all that
and
stuff.
then she's like, oh, shit, where's the fucking cat?
Yep, got to get Jonesy.
And then she has to run from the... but then it
The
becomes...
scene where she has to leave Jonesy and the Xenomorph is looking at the cage.
Yeah.
Oh,
and
man,
then,
that's so
and then the alien
crazy.
goes...
Yeah, it just knocks it to
he
the
knocks
side.
it to the side.
Yeah.
It's fucking
He's
great,
like, no
man.
thanks, doesn't want the cat.
Yeah. It's like, it just goes... Bam. See, that's what I didn't like about Covenant either, was just like...
No cats?
No, just like when the one broke out of the chest when the woman was in the ship, on the little ship that landed.
The backburster.
Yeah, the backburster. Like all of a sudden it became like a little person already. It's like, no, it's got to go through its stages.
It's on its way. It's not a Xenomorph yet. It's whatever what do they call it? A protomorph or not a protomorph?
I don't know.
Neomorph. They were calling them neomorphs, the white ones that are quick and deadly.
Yeah.
They're like fucking spider monkeys.
Right. But
so it is a different creature.
Yeah.
So it's somewhat excusable. It does look fucking cool.
The
sound design.
You know what I didn't like about it?
The sound design in Alien Covenant is top notch.
They CGI'd it, and I didn't like it. They CGI'd the shit out of it, and you could have done a different idea.
He did use more practical effects than I was expecting. However,
I don't know, man.
Which is a positive.
I was
expecting more.
I
CGI.
was disappointed. I wanted to see another Prometheus, and I wanted to see more of the old crew.
It's funny. This movie was closer to what I was looking for. I wanted less of Prometheus because we had that already, and it was a good movie. That was actually Prometheus. The pace of that movie and the things that go on in that movie.
It's a good
if you
movie,
separate
man.
it from the issues that you might have with it, especially with Alien, it's a really fucking good movie.
I like the whole
really
premise
good.
of the engineers. And you don't, but I like all that
yeah,
shit.
It drives me insane.
I kind of think it's
Space
cool.
jockeys in Alien, when they come into that ship, that thing's like fucking huge. It's like 15 fucking feet tall, and it's clearly organic, growing into the chair, working with the chair, this crazy biomechanical thing. And they completely changed all that. Now it's a fucking rubber suit, or it's whatever the fuck material. It's a suit, and they're just, 8 feet tall now, 7 feet tall, 8 feet tall. Like, it makes no sense.
They're
So
the big cats in the wild.
maybe he'll introduce another species of larger biomechanical creatures that are another humanoid-like thing that are kind of a subset of the engineer race or culture. Maybe they spread out.
Yeah.
And, like Star Trek or Star Wars is, we spread out across the galaxy and evolve to our new worlds and wind up, 10,000 years later looking quite differently. So maybe, that's a good way to explain that away, saying, okay, maybe that's the engineers that we meet are different. And also in Covenant, too, we don't get to see them much, but when David goes and kills the quote-unquote engineers, they're much more human in height, in stature, and they don't have that smooth, silicone-looking skin. They're a little more dry, and almost looks like they covered like that powdery look to them.
But they're still...
And they look more human than the engineers in the other movie.
But they
so
still
that could
tall,
be yet
though.
a third
They're still bigger than
class
us.
of engineer, right?
They're still tall.
I mean, the idea, I guess, is that they're a religious group, kind of there waiting. That's what it was kind of like their center.
Well, remember
for the engineers from Prometheus
but
to come and
there
return.
was a guy with a big
to see
cape
them.
on. He was probably the leader. There's a scene,
or a priest or something like that.
No, they made it look like he was the leader, like he was the emperor of the land.
But they're clearly different species.
Yeah. Well,
they're not the same species. They may be engineer, but they're different from the engineers that we met.
Maybe they were like the perfect specimen engineers that were allowed to become scientists or some shit. Maybe they were engineered too to be.
Well, the engineers from Prometheus, they're taller, they're bigger,
Yeah.
they're stronger, and they do have a little bit of biomechanical going on. They have like the gill thing, which looks like it meshes into the suit a little bit, which was a nice touch, you know.
Yeah.
So
I don't know if they had a gill thing. I think that was just part of the suit. I think they're just us. But
well, they
bigger.
had all those slits from the suit going up into their neck, all the way up the side of their neck. If you look closely,
Yeah, I got to look at that
yeah,
again.
it looks very cool. It's a
Yeah,
cool
no,
design.
I bet. I thought it was all dope. You know,
designs are great.
there's some shit that I was like, and you know, people said I don't know.
I mean, it is interesting, you know. I mean, at first it was with the black goo. I was like, but
I thought that was a cool,
all right.
interesting idea how we
Yeah.
came.
Yeah, so
That's all.
if you follow it, right, so let's follow it back. You have the black goo, which leaks into the dirt with the worms. So the black goo hits the worm, and now the worm becomes that cobra vagina-looking creature, right? So that
Right.
creature now, goes on and kills the other guy. Then you have
Isn't the vagina?
Holloway, who drinks the black goo.
Right.
He gets
Right.
Shaw pregnant,
Right.
and she has that weird squid-like thing, which you could think of, I guess, maybe like as a really super
Right.
primitive face hugger, right?
Right.
So she has that fucking thing. That
That
thing
becomes a
goes
face
on
hugger.
to
An engineer.
an engineer, a military, one of the big military
Yeah.
engineers, goes onto that face, and now it gives us what they're calling the Deacon, which was the same thing that you see in the mural. The Deacon
Right.
is in the mural.
Right.
So the engineers are clearly aware of the Deacon. It must have happened before.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So we have the Deacon. Now David takes off with Shaw and uses Shaw's, I'm assuming, reproductive system to create the first egg and the first face hugger.
Is that what he does?
Yeah, the first face hugger.
Did you read that?
Yes.
Oh, he does.
Yeah. So he makes the first face hugger.
Crazy.
And then now that face hugger goes on to the captain of the Covenant, right? Is a
Right.
proto face hugger and gives us our proto Xenomorph.
Right.
Now now David now has this whole crew of humans now to bring this new breed of face huggers
Right.
with all these eggs. And now he has 2,000 people to
No, it's great.
have an egg in front of when they wake
it
up
leads
from
it up
cryo.
for a great movie. Yeah.
It's going to be intense.
I hope it's good though. Just be good.
It's going to be intense.
And I'm not knocking him because he's fucking 80, and I'm never gonna fucking diss the man. I mean, he made Blade Runner and Alien, and he's like one of my fucking heroes. I'm never, he made that 1984 Apple commercial. Remember that? It was like totally 1984 with the woman running.
Oh, yeah.
It's fucking great. So, I just, just make them good, man. Don't phone him in. Don't phone these fucking movies in.
Here's what Prometheus and Alien Covenant give me that I'm grateful for. It gives me a character arc played by Michael Fassbender. David is one of my favorite characters now in all of science fiction.
He's this fucking rising
And
star actor.
It's
He's really
it's
good.
the character, it's the writing, it's the concept,
Yeah.
and it's his story arc combined with Michael Fassbender's acting, and to me that's worth the ticket price of both of these films.
Plays a great android.
It's fucking really. I mean, it's a great character.
I like the other
He's amazing.
android in this though.
Walter. Well,
Walter,
he
yeah.
had to play two completely different androids with two android personalities, and he fucking nails it. He nails it.
I don't know. I heard somebody talking about. Oh yeah, Christian
Hey,
Horn
Walter.
talked about this in his podcast, and he goes, I don't know, with the two guys and they're sharing the flute. He goes, that was a fun.
Kissing on a skin flute.
He's kissing on it. It was too it was like, oh my God, here, brother, you try. Oh, bravo, brother. And he was just going off on it. It's really a funny.
That's funny. I love that scene. I think that scene is excellent.
Yeah, I think it's dope too. But it's just funny how he just ranks on it, man. And
Because
it
it brings us into how this android's brain works or malfunctions or
Right.
what it is. And in a way, I don't really see it as a malfunction. It's like, the whole concept of you could do anything, but you're not allowed to create. You're not
Right.
allowed to do your own thing.
Well-
David is allowed to do his own thing and has been.
Well, that's the great scene in the beginning of Covenant.
Yeah, he's
When-
become megalomaniacal.
Yeah,
a megalomaniacal fucking robot.
Yeah, going rogue, baby. I'm starting my own race.
Right.
Yeah, it's great.
And it's strange, like he claims. I can't believe we're talking about the new movies instead of the old. We're gonna get back to that though, but
it's all connected.
But he claims
though.
to feel
It's all
love
connected.
for Shaw.
Yeah.
And he does.
Yeah.
But
hey, I'm gonna cut you open and use your fucking.
I
your
call
eggs.
back to Blade Runner. They felt love, right?
Yeah.
Is Deckard a replicant?
I don't know.
Because he runs off with one, and they seem to have.
Well, that's the whole thing. I'm
genuine,
curious what they're going to address in this new movie. Is that that's Blade Runner 2049? Do you like that title?
Yeah, it's okay because I guess that's when it's supposed to take place. So
right. I guess they wanted to make sure
when you see the movie, the title will have a little bit more meaning. Maybe.
I guess
maybe 2049 is
I
important.
I guess Blade Runner 2 would have sucked.
Yeah, or 2049 could be a model number as well. Who knows?
No, it's the actual date of what's going on at that timeline. But Blade Runner, the future years.
That movie better be good.
Yeah.
It's going to look great like everything else he does.
It looks great. The set design looks great.
That.
The new spinner flying police cars look fucking great.
I just hope Harrison Ford doesn't just
now this is the question.
Phone it in.
Yeah, I hope he didn't phone it in, and we'll know immediately when we watch it. When we watch the first,
you know when he's phoning it in.
But we'll know. I would say in the first
Crystal Skull, he completely phoned in.
Oh yeah, that was so bad.
You could tell right off the bat it was just like, really.
And they're planning on making another Indiana Jones movie. Another one
with
Harrison Ford.
I hope he's passing the torch and not to fucking Shia LaBeouf.
Shia LaBeouf, he's a fucking maniac. That guy.
He's nuts.
He's cuckoo bananas. I'm such an intense actor, man. I just want to fucking kill everybody. I'm gonna fucking kill. I'm an actor, man. I'm an actor. It's an actor supposed to behave. I'm an actor. He's crazy. He's fucking loaded. He made all that money.
Hey, Shy.
Yeah.
If you were on the cast of Alien, which character would you want?
I think I'll be the black guy.
Why is that?
Because I want to pretend I'm a black guy.
Oh, okay. That's your only reason?
Yeah.
That's your reasoning?
I think I could pass for a black guy.
Yeah, I think you could. I think you could do it.
I think I'd do that. Yeah, because I'll show my real acting ability through the black man. That's how it'd be. He's loaded from all those Transformer fucking movies. Anyway, going back. Blade Runner better be good. Looks good. They got a great cinematographer.
I thought you were going to go back to Alien.
Well, we got to talk about this too. We have to talk about this.
That was great.
It's a great year for sci-fi, though. The new
I'm
Star
Star
Wars movie's coming out too in December.
Even though I heard the
a
story
new
is
Star Wars movie
weak.
that we want to see
Yeah.
so bad. Luke
Yeah.
Skywalker, finally, we're gonna see a movie about Luke Skywalker.
Luke Skywalker and his
Fucking
classic lightsaber.
That was one thing I pissed about Abrams, man. You didn't have a reunion with Luke and Han and Leia and Chewie all together. What the fuck, man?
Maybe it would have felt too obvious.
No, you did it subtle. Could have been subtle. You know? They never meet.
It wasn't like there was a whole lot of story told in the movie.
I don't think you could have
I
killed...
think you could have sacrificed a few minutes with the crazy CGI creature.
I think you should have wounded Han.
Han was smuggling.
I think you should have wounded Han and then let him live to the next movie or kill him right in the beginning of the second one. You didn't have to fucking kill him off already. But I have a lot of faith in...
I wonder how they're going to handle it with Fisher's passing. Because she was supposed to be in the third movie.
Yeah.
And they had already finished the second one.
But
so
that's
they
what
got to figure out
happens.
something in
They'll
between
figure
those
something
two
out.
movies to explain her absence.
They'll figure it out. Just don't do CGI shit.
Or maybe they just won't even acknowledge it and she's just somewhere else.
No,
they'll
acknowledge her dying somehow.
Well, Luke didn't make it to the film to the very end. So you could just say, Leia's doing what she's doing, but just not on camera.
I don't know how they're going to address it. I'm sure it'll be fine because you have no choice. Because
you think Kylo's going to redeem himself?
I don't know.
Before the end of the trilogy?
I don't know what's going to happen in this one. I'm excited. I don't want to read too much about what's going on. I want to see another trailer, though.
Is Luke gray Jedi now? Has he gotten gray? He doesn't follow the Jedi codes now?
I don't know.
I think he's gone gray.
Yeah.
Which I identify with. If I was a Jedi, I'd definitely be gray. I wouldn't I wouldn't even be technically a Jedi. I'd be a Force user, and I'd be gray.
Yeah. It answers this big
Screw
question.
the Sith and screw the Jedi.
No,
The
there's a question about what's the
dogmatic on
origin
both
of the
ends.
Sith and the Jedi too. It's going to be addressed. So there's going to be some, which is fine because I'm excited because it means it's new Star Wars to fucking like.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's all I give a shit. It's like, oh my god, that's so cool. Oh, this is great. This is why I love Star Wars.
I was asked to give a positive, say one positive thing about the prequels, and it was sound design. Fucking, you could close your eyes and watch those movies. If you could take out all the dialogue, fucking sound design is so cool. In the,
You know what's funny? When you look at the prequels, I always say it looks like Disney did the prequels. You know?
Yeah, and now
it's
Disney's
so heavy
making
CGI.
Yeah, it's weird.
So heavy CGI in it, and you like
flop world.
But you know, I like little things from all the I'm not like, man, fucking Jar Jar Binks fucks it up, man. You know, fuck the prequels, man. Fuck the original trilogy. You know, these camps, and then the new kids are like, you have to embrace them all. It's all the Star Wars universe. So you have these two camps always arguing. I accept it all. It's all Star Wars. I thought there's some cool stuff in the Phantom Menace, and then there's some cool stuff in Attack of the Clones, and then personally, I think Revenge of the Sith is actually the best of the three. You got to watch it again. It's a really great story.
I've watched them several times. Many.
No, watch Revenge of the Sith. I swear to God, it's a good story. It's a good story, and the acting's fine. It's the best of them. But you know, I don't go back and watch them, and you know,
the first act is
I want new Star Wars.
Yeah, I
really
want new
don't
Star
like
Wars.
The third
I
act,
don't. And there's a lot.
I'm sick. I'm fucking so tired of fucking prequels and everything. I like the Alien prequel shit too, but fuck the prequels, man.
Yeah.
Let's make some fucking new shit, man. I mean, I would like to see.
If you're gonna prequel in Star Wars, you know what I always say.
And I always say
Old
too.
Republic.
Old Republic would be dope.
Go back to Revan's rise, fall, redemption.
There's a whole movement of Amazon wanting to do it or Netflix want to do it. They'll do a series on it.
Yep.
But if you're gonna do it like that and not movie style, it's got to be fucking stellar. It's got to be like Game of Thrones of Old Republic. You have to have great CGI and great fucking props and great practical effects. You gotta make it look like a fucking movie, but it's a TV show, and they're doing that now. That's why this is the second golden age of television.
Everyone uses. I mean, you could use CGI to fucking do anything.
No, but I'm just saying one of the tricks you can use just to enhance.
I just like. I always say Old Republic because of how deep and thick. The narrative and the characters. There's so many characters, and they're all interesting. They're all great characters.
I don't care if they wanted to do a 9-movie trilogy about the Old Republic. I think that would be dope.
Awesome. It would be so if they did it right.
Yeah, I think that would be dope.
Mm-hmm.
I think you should.
Because that felt more like Star Wars than anything, especially the prequels. Don't even fucking touch that.
And I think you should do it. You should do it like 9 movies. Like do the 9. The 9 should be the standard of something.
You're crazy, yeah. Because then you can, both games would tell an interesting story.
Yeah.
You'd be separating characters and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But there's a way you could tie it together somehow.
Right.
Back
to Alien.
The character Kreia is mental.
Back to Alien.
Yeah, let's get back to Alien.
Hey, real quick, let's let the folks know who we are, Rob, shall we? We need to introduce ourselves. My name is Greg Roederer, and I went to film school back in the day, and I always loved movies. And Rob and I decided, hey, did you ever think of doing a podcast? Yeah, that would be cool. So we finally put our shit together. We got this going. So we're going to see how it works. I like it. I don't give a shit what I sound like. I've listened to more shittier shit on the interwebs. But, it's all good. It's all about the subject matter if you want to, And that's what we're going to be talking about. Our show is mostly about, it's going to be sci-fi themed. We're heavy sci-fi guys. Eventually when we get our shit together.
Sci-fi and good B schlock.
B movies.
The good schlock.
Or 80s kids, late 70s, 80s kids.
Atari,
you know, when you had to go into an arcade. Remember Silver Ball in North Bergen?
dude.
Silver Ball in North Bergen, New Jersey,
In Silver
baby.
Ball. You're gonna have to
Tunnelly
tune into
Avenue.
the other podcast when me and Izzy talk about the arcade experience.
Oh, I got to
And
be on
I'm
that
gonna
one.
tell my story about.
I got to be on that
I'm
one.
saving my arcade experience story for that show.
Yeah.
But I will say this on this show, is that when it closed down
on this prestigious show.
when it closed down, I remember we were driving down Tunnelly Avenue and I was in the back seat. My mom and dad were in the front. My dad was driving. And we drove past the building and there were big pieces of plywood covering the windows. And someone spray painted "Game Over."
Oh, that's dope.
And I was heartbroken.
That's
fucking heartbroken.
that's fucking
I was
dope.
floored.
Yeah.
Floored.
Yeah.
That was where I fucking went all the time.
I love
spent
that
so many
place.
quarters there. But anyway, am I supposed to introduce myself?
Yeah, we were saying
People
how
don't care about me. They don't want to know about me.
yeah, tell them who you are.
My name is Rob.
Rob what?
Rob Marinsky.
Rob Murray.
My name's Rob Murray. Marinsky's just
But
a joke.
we call him Marinsky. I call him the Marinsk. The Marinsk.
My father was a drifter, and my mother was a used spatula salesperson.
Awesome.
And I grew up
envy your family.
on the mean streets of Edgewater, New Jersey,
Otherwise known as Copland.
otherwise known as Copland. Yeah. Oh, you know,
Copland.
we should talk about Copland.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
That's our
On
neck.
an
That's
episode.
your neck of the woods.
Yeah, we should definitely.
That's
talk
your
about
neck of the woods.
Copland. There's a couple of stories I heard from the locals when they were filming that are
Right.
somewhat interesting.
I
We'll take up a whole episode.
Oh
but
yeah.
there's a couple
Well,
stories.
yeah. And Copland's a good movie, man.
Yeah.
It's a good cop movie.
It's as good as it is bad.
Yeah. You know, it's a little, you know, but it's
I
still,
enjoy it
and,
more
and it has
than
all these big actors.
someone
in it, man.
in fucking Chicago watching that movie is just gonna be like, yeah, they're not gonna like the things that I like about it is because it's right there on the Hudson. This is where we grew up.
Right.
It's in my town, and it's like, oh yeah, and we used to play on that street, and so that that was cool. But anyway, yeah, so podcast,
Yeah.
what I do is
You're a musician.
I'm a musician. I write music. I'm currently working on synthwave. It's a retro 80s synthesizer sound. But so I have all this equipment here, and me and my buddy Izzy decided to do a show, and me and Greg here decided to do this show, make use of the equipment, throw a bunch of crap at the wall and see what sticks.
Yeah.
I think it should be fun.
We're gonna have all of 4 listeners.
4. Wow. You got high hopes.
But our show is about a lot of science fiction movies. We got tons of movies, and this is for you folks who are into that shit. You'll probably listen like for a half hour and then shut it off. But that's our show. That's what we're just gonna be talking about. Obviously, you'll figure it out on our page, right? We're getting a YouTube page.
Yeah. We're going to set that up.
We got to set that up. But we got to get something going.
This will be our first official episode.
This is our first official.
Maybe we'll upload that other one. Call it episode 0 test run, because there's a few entertaining things that happen in there that are worth listening to.
Yeah, we could discuss that stuff.
I mean, I got that on my other YouTube page.
Yeah.
Which I'm gonna have to make an introduction there, and ask my subscribers to
go there.
to subscribe to that.
Yeah.
channel
Once
as
we get
well.
this all, I'm gonna put it on my Insta ass.
Yeah.
On my little bio, my Insta
Yeah,
ass.
we'll do the Facebook and Twitter thing. But anyway, speaking of film,
back to
Alien 1979.
Did we talk about the set design?
Yeah.
Did we talk about the set design?
We talked about Alien Covenant quite a bit.
Because it's tied in. This is supposed to be the prequel to this fucking Alien.
Yeah, we may get 1 or 2 more prequels that lead up to Alien, depending on what Scott does.
I say let him make as many as he wants. He's leaving a whole.
I want 1 more, at least 1 more.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad he's making a second Blade Runner. He's producing it. I was so happy to hear, and it looks good.
Doesn't that come out next month?
October.
Oh, okay, it comes out October.
Yeah, you got Blade Runner coming out.
Star
you had another
Wars.
Alien movie. Star
Well,
Wars.
who knows when that Alien movie's going to come out? Another year or two?
Yeah, but you had it this year. Alien Covenant.
What was it,
came
3
out.
years between Prometheus and Covenant?
Yeah.
And they started production almost immediately, right?
Yeah.
But speaking of production, Ridley Scott, everything he does is fucking great.
Even Black Rain. Remember Black Rain?
Even back in 1979. I mean, that movie just looks so... It looks so cool. Everything looks great. You know? And then there's different art designers as well. You have Giger's work on everything that's Alien. And I can't remember the guy's name who designed, the Nostromo and all that. I should have that in my notes, but I forgot to put that down. But
It's so much.
regardless, the set design all around is just so fucking good. And then as the movie gets on, the set design and the lighting, it changes. It evolves as the movie goes on, and then
Right.
it just comes to a head when all that steam is going and the self-destruct countdown is happening, and looking for Jonesy, and dude, it's just fucking crazy.
You know what scene
It's
I love
crazy.
is the in the director's cut.
It just grabs you, it doesn't let go.
Yeah, you see Dallas in the cocoon. And he's going.
That's a cool
"Kill
scene.
me,
Well, the cool thing about that
kill
scene when you
me."
watch it is
I'm
that
like, this is fucking awesome.
that didn't make a director's cut until 2003. So
Yeah.
we were never aware of
Yeah,
that
I know.
scene.
It's a dope
So
scene. It would have been
when-
fine in the original.
Yeah, so when Alien
Yeah.
Resurrection came out and there's that scene where Sigourney Weaver finds the fucked up clones and
Yeah.
one's still alive, kill me, and
Yeah.
she uses the flamethrower.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
a
yeah.
direct callback to that deleted
Yeah, yeah.
scene. Which is very fucking cool. And also, in a way, it's if they had left that scene in, it might have changed the lore a little bit about, especially when it came to the Queen.
Right.
Because what looked like was happening is that the alien had put those things up, and they were turning into eggs now.
Right.
Like Brett was almost completely an egg by that point.
Yeah,
in
he was
that
all.
scene.
It's just like.
Yeah,
Like,
so that
"Oh,
changes the
Brett!"
biology of how
Well,
that moves along.
He was he morphing
So,
into something, or was
Without
he like?
that scene, now we have the second Alien movie where we have the Queen.
But what's happening to Brett? Is he like morphing, or is he like food for the alien?
I think it looks like an egg. It looks like he's turning into an egg. That
Interesting.
used to be Brett, but it looks like an egg now. It's turning into an
How
egg.
is
It
it
even
turning
has little
into-
flaps, and
How is it turning into an egg?
for whatever reason,
Oh,
I guess,
yeah.
and it's alien to us. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
somehow biochemistry something happening, turning it into
Yeah,
an egg.
that's what I
But
mean.
it's cool that it's there,
it's like-
but
that-
it's not really canon to the story now.
I just don't know how it is. There has to be a queen to lay the egg. So how's the egg already?
There's a scene in Alien 3 that Sigourney Weaver basically says her best guesses as to what's going on is that any one of them over a long period of time can produce an egg, but not like a queen. They can't become a queen, but they can produce a queen.
Huh.
So they can produce one. So once a queen is produced, it can produce
Right,
more.
right.
And of course, the queen can produce a queen as well.
Yeah.
Which it does by leaving a queen facehugger on the Sulaco.
Yeah.
Which winds up getting her, bringing
Right.
us to the third film, where she now has an alien queen growing in her chest.
I would be a colonial space marine. They're fucking dope.
Assholes and elbows.
Yeah, it's a fucking great movie, man.
Hey Vasquez, anyone ever? What was it? What's the line? Anyone ever confuse you for a man?
Yeah.
No. How about you? She says.
Poor
It's a great
Hudson.
scene, great characters.
Poor Bill Paxton.
Yeah,
It was.
a casualty.
Yeah.
Game over.
Yeah. You know how many people said that and shit?
Yeah.
Oh my god! Like game over, game over, game over.
Yeah, it's referenced everywhere.
Yeah, I mean it's like lore now. It's fucking sad.
So Keen is the first one to get a face full of hugs.
Who?
Keen,
Keen, yeah.
John Hurt.
He's a great actor.
He gets a
too.
face full of hugs.
What
They
a
bring
great
him back
actor
onto the
he
ship.
just died recently too. So sad.
Yep,
Great actor. He was great. You ever seen The Elephant Man?
of course.
I have a copy of that if you need to watch it
Good
again.
movie.
Yeah. Fucking hilarious. Fucking not hilarious, but fucking he's great in it.
So they bring Brett back onto the ship.
And,
And,
everything's hunky dory.
Yeah.
They're gonna have one last meal, and he's eating some kind of like
some spaghetti or something like that.
Some spaghetti. It looks like veggies, like veggie noodles or whatever. And then
Some kind of noodle.
And he starts spitting it up. He plays
It's one of my favorite scenes in the movie.
Oh, it's classic. That's what started it all. And
the practical effects in that scene, the crew was not aware of.
Yeah.
He purposely wanted them to be shocked and surprised and scared. Yeah. They didn't know what was going to happen with the practical effects, with the thing shooting out in the blood. So he filmed that in one take with 4 cameras.
Wow.
And it's a perfect take.
Yeah.
The shock and fear, and they stop.
Yeah.
And then they remember, like, oh shit, the cameras are rolling. We have to keep acting. So Ian Holm comes in. No, don't touch it.
Yeah.
The timing. Lambert freaking out, getting the blood on her and falling down. I mean, it's so fucking genuine.
It's cool
real.
When you watch Hurt. He starts twitching too.
Yeah.
His fucking hands
his hands are twitching and shit.
Because he's, it's the last remnants of his life.
Really, really crazy.
It's just
he knew what was happening.
Yeah.
He had to know what was happening because he was part of the practical effect.
Yeah.
But they were not expecting the blood and the push. They weren't expecting any of that.
It's fucking genius. Yeah, it's
and they pushed that thing up through the fucking table, and I wonder if in the sound design how much of that was post, if there was any in the room with them, because the sound it makes when it comes up is so fucking cool.
Yeah,
it does that little clickety noise and looks back and forth and does that little fucking thing and just takes off. If they didn't know any of that was fucking happening, that's fucking crazy. Man.
Yeah,
but like, you couldn't ask for a better take. You couldn't ask for a better take.
It's
Yeah.
No, it's a classic scene that everybody sees and shows people, and it's
been mocked and repeated so many times.
I was when you were saying that, I was just thinking about, remember Ice Pirates and Space Herpes?
What was that?
The guy.
It sounds great.
You never saw Ice Pirates?
Ice Pirates and Space Herpes.
Yeah, Ice Pirates.
No.
You've seen Ice Pirates.
Is that the name of the film, Ice Pirates and Space Herpes, or just Ice Pirates?
Ice Pirates.
So what's Space Herpes?
It's kind of like a version of Alien. It's running around the ship.
Where does the name Space Herpes come from? Is that a line of dialogue?
Yeah, that's what they call it. It's a xenomorph.
But they call it Space
Herpes.
So this is like some really bad.
You remember this movie?
I've never seen it.
Yeah.
If I did, it's out of my memory.
The guy from Vegas, Roger. I can't.
Is it a Corman film? Is that what you're telling me now?
Not Roger. What's his name? He was in America. Remember that show America about the Soviets taking over the United States? What the hell? I can't think of his name. He was in that television show called Vegas. I can't think of these people's names all the time.
Modern television escapes me. I'm on the internet all the time.
Anyway, he's in it, and
we're playing a game.
Oh, we gotta watch it. If you've never seen this movie, we have to watch it. It was a studio production made movie, but it was kind of like B quality, and it's about these pirates who steal ice from different planets, and they got to deal with. It's like a ripoff of Star Wars and shit. Intergalactic piracy and
planetary.
All this shit. Yeah, remember Forbidden Zone?
Yes.
Yeah, same premise, that kind of shit. But this movie, Ice Pirates, is all comedic. It riffs on.
So it's a parody.
It's a parody, exactly. Okay. On all science fiction of that time too.
Yeah, Space Pirates, Space Herpes.
Yeah,
Ice Pirates, Space Herpes.
No, Ice Pirates.
Ice Pirates, Space Herpes.
Space Herpes.
Okay.
Yeah. It gets You
got the crabs.
It's fucking hilarious.
You got the crabs, kid.
It's a crazy movie.
You gotta hit it with the shampoo.
That's a great movie.
You gotta hit the crabs with the shampoo, kid.
What else do you have on your notes there?
Ooh, I got a lot of notes.
Well, I think I'm out of my notes. Unless you want to talk about
I got a lot of notes.
Giger. You want to talk about Giger?
We got to.
Want to talk about Giger and his work?
Giger's work. I can't speak more highly enough. Probably my favorite artist of all time.
We were talking about how it's become
grotesque.
It becomes the staple now. It's up there with the arts.
Yeah.
It's it was once
It's visceral. It's
the studio didn't want to
it's
use
beautiful.
it. The studio didn't want to use it. They thought it was too sexual and weird.
The original Egg
Yeah,
had one slit, and the studio made him change it because it looked too much like a vajuji.
a vagina, vagine.
A vajon.
Yes, I like the vagine. Yes,
He is very good.
I like the vagine. Yes. Yeah, and now it's like people are like, this is the best art ever.
So now, where we at? We left off at the chest burster.
Yeah.
So now we have a xenomorph on board. And now the crew is trapped with this unknown danger already responsible for one death.
Right.
It's deadly, it's quick, it has acid for blood. It's changing and growing fast. It's intelligent, and it has a violent and violating nature. So now we have Brett. Here, kitty kitty. This fucking scene is so good. Even the director's cut adds a wide shot
Of the
where
alien.
the xenomorph is hanging from the chain, just waiting,
Right.
just waiting like a bat.
Yeah.
But even without that, the theatrical version, that scene,
Yeah.
the tension in that scene, you know he's going to get it.
Yeah.
Here, kitty, kitty, right off the bat, you
Oh,
know
yeah,
it.
yeah, it's great.
And, you know,
Well, one by one, they get
cools
picked
off under the
yeah.
water, and the chains are clanking, and the lights going, and there's a fan. It's just
Well,
and it winds up being so great because when he's finally attacked, we don't see the attack. We see Jonesy. You know,
Right.
It's so Hitchcock. It's like,
oh yeah, it's
if
all
Hitchcock
it's a
were
mystery.
alive and
It's a
directing
suspense.
Alien,
Yeah.
that scene would still
Yeah.
be in the movie.
It's it's funny. It's funny how Hitchcock didn't do something sci-fi, or something like a what if scenario, like an alternative Earth or something. He just
I
did
think-
very practical modern shit. He
I
would have been
think
great at science fiction.
The mind fuck was more important to him.
Yeah.
And he wanted the story to be so as grounded in reality as possible,
Yeah.
even though some of his stuff really wasn't. I mean, you know, the birds.
The birds is
you
is the
know.
closest maybe to something like that.
Vertigo's. Just-
All right, I guess the birds would be.
But yeah, we gotta do a separate thing on Hitchcock alone. Where
Jeez.
you start comparing Hitchcock and his influence. It's everywhere. It's everywhere.
We're gonna have
you
to
know.
just combine.
But Hitchcock's influence is the most that I notice or I see is in that scene with the cat. You know, when Brett finally gets attacked. So now you got two members down, and they're hunting this fucking thing. And yeah, it's fucking nuts, bro. I lost track for a second because I started looking at the notes instead of just talking.
Yeah.
So I fucking stumbled.
Are you talking into the mic? You got to talk into the mic. Yeah. You can edit this, right? This part. You got to edit this part. You definitely got to edit this part.
I should actually take that out and just add a real sound effect of fucking wind blowing through. You know, an empty plane.
doo-doo-doo-doo-doo, something that does.
But again, you got that Hitchcock scene, but it's so fucking creepy. The lighting in the movie is great. Everything is so fucking good. The only negatives I have, one isn't a negative and one is, and you know, how can I blame it? It's 1979. I mentioned one already with the question mark of Ash trying to choke her with the magazine. You know, but
Right.
that's not even a negative. It's still a great scene, but it just always puzzled me. And the only other thing was the explosion of the Nostromo. It was just, you know, it's the only thing in the movie that doesn't look convincing or looks like a bad special effect.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
You know what I mean? But it was 1979. However,
I accept it. I'm not gonna get technical.
Star Wars
about-
was 1977, and all the other fucking special effects in this movie are great. But all the other special effects in this movie are all practical. That's the only special effect that isn't practical, except for the computer monitors and stuff.
Right.
But you know, you have graphic designers for that, so
Yeah.
that's not even a special effect. Nothing is done, you know,
Right.
outside of sound
I'm not.
design.
I'm not even gonna. It's
Everything's
a
captured on
non-issue
film
with
as
me
is.
that scene. I I just accept it.
I do too, but I just say I always have that question.
I love it
just
when the
always felt
alien
weird.
he
It
gets
just felt
blown
weird to
out
me.
in the airlock. No, he gets through the airlock, and then he hangs on because it's punctured him.
Yeah, she's got the harpoon in it.
Right, but then he makes his way. He catches on to stabilize himself, and he goes right into the engine, and then she hits the fucking thrust.
They make it look even weirder too, because when you get the exterior shot of the ship, the aspect ratio changes, so it does that like a kind of like squish effect.
Yeah,
and then when it goes back into the ship, it's a normal aspect ratio.
Right.
So it's like it throws you off for a second. It's weird. It's cool too because I think he's filmed that with a high speed camera and had water and steam coming down with that heavy bright light.
Yeah, it's dope. I think it's a cool
and
effect.
The guy literally just hanging on a rope from his waist in the costume, and it looked cool, man.
Oh, it's
you
dope.
know? And he had to kind of like not really move because now he's out in space, so he's like, it's like
that's why I think like Alien
crazy.
3 with the CGI dog running. They fucked that up. They should.
They didn't go with practical effects.
If they went with practical effect, the movie would have been better.
Yeah, I used to shit on the movie, and I've seen it so many times. I watch these movies at least. I'm not kidding. All the Alien movies, and now we got Prometheus and Covenant's coming out. That's gonna join the fucking marathon every, I don't know, 6 to 8, maybe 9 months at most will go by before I pop these movies in and watch them.
Right.
So, I always. So the more I watch these films, the more the more bad stuff I see, but also the more good stuff I see. Like Alien 3 is not a terrible movie.
No, it's not at all.
It's
I like
especially when you compare it to Resurrection.
I think it's sad, but I like the beginning of Alien 3 when you find Newt dies and Hicks dies and Alien.
Yeah, that was a little disappointing.
Yeah, it was.
Because I got the feeling towards Alien and Aliens. There isn't a whole lot of exposition, but there's so much storytelling because of the presence of the characters. Yeah. So you get this feeling like, okay, now she's taken Newt under her wing. Newt needs a mother figure. There's clearly a romance budding between her and Hicks. So it's almost like this crazy family come together because of the Xenomorph is really weird. So then to get to the next movie and find out, more time has passed.
Oh, I definitely think Hicks and Ripley would have been fucking.
Yeah, and
they
now
totally
Hicks
would have
and
been fucking.
Newt are dead. It's crazy.
Right.
There's an alternate story where Sigourney Weaver's in a coma, and Newt and Hicks survive, and she's shipped off to her grandparents, and he's shipped back and going through. He's in the hospital, going through recovery, and he's also he also has PTSD, and it gets to the point where he's needed for action as the one with experience, and he's reluctant, but winds up going back to fight them again. Right. And Sigourney Weaver's character is nowhere in that story.
Oh wow, interesting.
Yeah.
No, I didn't know that.
She's in a coma. She's actually in a coma. Something happened in the cryo sleep.
Right.
But that's an interesting story too.
Yeah.
That would have been a good movie too. But the Alien, quadrilogy is about Ripley's character.
Yeah.
And now we have the prequels, which seem to be focused mostly on David.
Right.
Which is interesting to me.
Yeah.
He didn't try to give us. At first, we're like, I watched Prometheus, and I was like, okay. I'm like, the Shaw. He's trying to give us another Ripley. Like, I don't need to have another Ripley. You know what I mean? Like, and now, okay, so now we didn't get that when Covenant came out. We don't get Shaw. Now we get. Wow, I forgot her name already. I've seen the movie several times already. Well, 3 times.
Right.
Covenant. What's her name? What's the character's name? Why am I forgetting her name?
The woman whose husband dies.
Yeah. Fuck.
I forget her name.
She did a good job too. I think she was better than the one who played Shaw. I think she was better at it.
Oh yeah.
I'm
not disputing the acting in Covenant.
Maybe better for that character.
I just think it was kind of a rushed story. And
that was my complaint. He was trying. I think he's trying to tell too much story and fit too much in.
Yeah. With
Covenant, but
I mean,
I still enjoyed it.
It's all right. I guess I'm gonna have to buy it. I'm gonna have to buy it.
But again, it's the set design, the sound design.
Yeah.
The
There's some elements in it I like.
the cameras, the art
I like how
direction is
he gets,
top notch in everything
Billy
he does,
Krupp.
especially the Alien.
he lures
movies.
Billy Krupp into his little lab, and the face hugger gets him.
Yeah,
Fucking dope, you know.
it's fucking pretty sweet.
And then the introduction of David in this one, and he's in the field and he shoots the flare up in the
He's
air.
got
and
the cloak and long hair.
Yeah, it's dope. You know, I like that. I was like, finally, we get to see him.
Yeah, Fassbender is.
Yeah, well, I wanted to see, David and
I
Shaw.
was largely unaware of him until Prometheus.
Yeah.
And now with Alien Covenant, the opening, talking about skipping away from the first movie again to go back to fucking Covenant, but the opening sequence in Covenant is that scene where he names himself by looking at the David statue.
Right.
That scene is so good. It tells everything without saying a word of what we need to know, but it's all there.
Right.
We see his reaction. We see his instant disdain for Wayland, even
Right.
though he is his dedicated servant throughout his
Now serve me my tea.
whatever the last 40 to 50 years of his life, which was interesting. And, he even says in the first movie in Prometheus, don't we all want to see our parents dead, which is like, whoa, that's foreign. We don't, David. You do. We don't. You do.
Totally.
But so fucking, Alien's awesome. There's some trivia. I got a couple trivia notes here.
I'm down with some trivia.
Let's see.
Make sure you're speaking to the mic.
I'm gonna skip down.
How do you know if the levels are good?
It doesn't matter. I can bring stuff and lower stuff later. So you got music by Jerry Goldsmith, which
Classic.
is great because it's so understated.
Yeah.
And it hits its peaks exactly where it needs to.
Classic.
And there's always tension in the soundtrack. If you listen to the soundtrack just by itself, you can almost picture the pacing of the film and what's going on in the film because of where the subtlety is and where the tension is and where it peaks. It's such a good soundtrack.
Oh yeah.
And it's buried most of the time. I suggest anyone listen to just the soundtrack by itself. Veg out one day and just turn it on, listen to it. It's unsettling and beautiful at the same time.
Oh, totally.
It's very moments where it's just very sweeping and beautiful, but there's this under tension of crazy minor notes coming into these beautiful major chords.
Sure.
It's pretty fucking sweet. But going on from Jerry Goldsmith, we got it won an Oscar for Best Visual Effects.
Mm-hmm.
I think it should have won for Best Film that year, but it didn't. On IMDb, it's number 52 on the top-rated films, which is very impressive. Yeah.
Of all the movies ever made.
Number 52.
Out of all the thousands of
right,
movies.
And think of how many genres of films are in that list.
Wow.
And how many films are in that list.
So it's in the top 100.
So it's number 52 in its top-rated films.
Wow.
Harrison Ford turned down the role of Dallas. Did you know that? I just found out that one recently. We're doing some research.
Yeah, Tom Skerritt's great.
Skerritt's awesome. But you know what? I think the movie wouldn't have changed. I think Harrison Ford would have played the character very similarly.
It's all right. We don't need to see Harrison Ford and everything.
Yeah, but if he wasn't,
I love Han Solo.
I don't think it would have added or taken away from the movie. I think we would have had the same movie because I think he would have played the part very similarly.
Sure. I mean, wasn't
so I don't think that's a big
Magnum
difference.
P.I. was up for. Tom Selleck was up for fucking Indiana Jones. Did you know that?
That would have changed the movie.
Yeah, totally.
Right.
That's what I mean.
But Harrison Ford being in this, I don't think would have changed the movie.
I'm glad when you hear who was up for it and they didn't go to it. I was like, I'm glad it didn't happen.
Well, speaking of Harrison Ford and who was going to get it, Christopher Walken was on the.
For what?
Was on the
what list?
On the bench for Han Solo, originally. Christopher Walken.
Oh, jeez.
He almost was Han Solo, instead of Harrison Ford.
It would have changed.
So that would have changed the movie. But again, I don't think Harrison Ford would have changed Alien 1979.
Yeah.
But
he would have been a minor. Yeah.
I have down here about the
Tom Skerritt's
handheld camera work, but I already mentioned that. And also, My last bit of trivia, which I think is interesting, is the slime used to make the alien look wet, especially when its mouth was coming out that thick saliva.
Yeah.
That was actually KY.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
To add to the
effect.
yeah.
Nah, it's all good. All the who's the puppeteer guy again?
Oh, he has an interesting name. Something with a B. He was like 7 foot something, like 7'1".
No, not the
very
actor.
thin. I thought you were talking about the guy that was in the suit.
No. The guy, the puppeteer. Alien design crew. Who was that? Wasn't it Stan?
Oh, I didn't pull any of that stuff up on my notes.
Yeah, isn't it? Oh man, I think it's. Who's the big special effects guy who died a while back?
You got me.
I can't believe I can't think of that right now. Stan Watson?
I'll have to believe you.
Yeah, no. I think he did it. I didn't get too far on that, too, because I was thinking, how long are we going to talk about it? And we've been talking for like about an hour, 20 minutes.
Don't matter.
So
I don't care how long these episodes are, to be honest.
I don't care either. But did we get enough of Alien in?
There's always, for me, there's always more to say.
Did you want to talk about the other Alien movies?
The other Alien movies, or the whole franchise, I love it. Even the things that I don't like about it. I like every single Alien. I like all of them. I like all 6 movies that exist right now. I like them all. But I will complain about some things in 3. I will complain about a lot of things in 4. I'll complain about core things in Prometheus and issues with the pacing in Covenant.
Right.
But all that being said, they are among my favorite series of movies because Ridley Scott's art direction and camera work and his eye for building a movie is second to none.
Right.
Kubrick, Hitchcock, Ridley Scott. There isn't a moment that goes by that you're not visually impressed, stimulated, and even in the most subtle and inconsequential things, it's just the movies are all great.
Right.
They're beautiful. Again, The Martian. Watch it without the ridiculous scenes and with the volume turned down while you're watching, listening to music. And it's a beautiful movie to look at.
Yeah, he does. I like Gladiator.
Yeah.
Gladiator was great stuff.
Yeah. It's beautiful to look at.
Yeah. You can do it.
Beautiful to look at. I thought that the color palette for that movie was wrong.
Right. It
works and I enjoy it, but I think he should have went with a more more day night. That bluish color would have worked for night and daytime. I would have enjoyed to see the color palette change, something a little more sun washed.
Right.
I don't know what the technical name for that is. But natural light. That's what I'm.
Right.
It kind of looked like it was going through It just looked superficially like it was going through the same filter no matter what.
Right.
And it was just like, it's too much here, too much blue, or whatever color, turquoise, whatever. It's been a while since I've seen the movie. But
right.
It does have that one color throughout the whole movie. And movies can get by on that. Mad Max. Very, very. It takes place in natural light, but it's not natural light. It has its own color palette.
Right.
Even when they redid it again with Fury Road, nailed it. Fucking nailed it. The color palette in that movie is among... You want to talk about movies? Fury Road. I never thought I would see a Mad Max movie I would like more than Road Warrior. Yeah. And Fury Road blew me away. Yeah.
Wait till
There's almost fucking no dialogue in that movie. Yeah. There is zero exposition. Zero. And I feel like I saw a fucking story that was deep and all of it was done by the presence of the characters. What's her name? Charlize, whatever,
Theron.
and Tom Hardy. Holy shit, these fucking actors are awesome, you know. And she was great in Prometheus. She was great. She was really good, you know. I like the scene where the captain's playing the squeeze box. And, you know, he says, oh, you know, if you're trying to get laid, blah, 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 you know, all you got to do is ask. And then she walks away. And what is he? He tells her the squeeze box belonged to Crosby.
Right.
From Crosby, Stills.
Right.
Or Stephen Stills. It said it belonged to Stephen Stills. And he asks her, are you a robot? She says, in my room in 10 minutes.
Right.
He starts playing, if you can't be with the one you love, love the one you're with. So, that, you know, Prometheus is if you separate it from the problems I have with it, or the problems it presented into the Alien canon,
Right.
that's where my problems are. With the concepts that they now added in, I felt didn't fit. But if you take that away, it's a great movie. The characters are great. The scenes like that, it felt like an Alien movie. It felt like that scene could have been in Aliens.
Right.
That could have been part of the Marines. You know, he could have been one of that crew.
Right.
You know, and you know, even the little side characters. You know, they had their little bet on whether it was a terraforming mission or whatever. You know, characters had depth without any fucking need for outside storytelling. You know. But, yeah, man, it's all about Michael Fassbender, these new movies.
Yeah. I hope they just keep making them. And after Ridley dies, whenever that is.
Blomkamp was interested at one point. He wanted to make a new 3, which would have ignored 3 and Resurrection. And it would have been what happened to Newt Hicks and Sigourney and Ripley. I keep calling her Sigourney Weaver.
Yeah, it's
Ripley,
all right. I don't care if that wasn't made or not.
and make that movie. But
Yeah.
you know what? Blomkamp's not a bad filmmaker. He's a good filmmaker.
All his movies are sci-fi, man.
Yeah, his movies are good. I haven't seen Chappie yet, but District 9 I thought was
District 9 is his best one he's done.
that shocked me. I was expecting, you know, not schlock, but like I wasn't expecting Independence Day. Let's say that.
Yeah.
But I was expecting something closer to Independence Day than something that I'm going to say, oh, District 9 is in my list of must-see sci-fi
And it
movies.
was
I
totally-
never thought it would come near that list.
Right.
And it is. It's on that list.
Oh, it's great.
Yeah. Just in movies in general. The guy, I don't know his name, the South African guy, the main character in the film who goes through the changes and becomes a weapon. The character arc from beginning to end with him, where at first you're like, oh, he's just an idiot, and then you're like, I really don't like this guy. It's like, ooh, no one should be going through that. So it's almost like in movies today, normally the character that would be getting this shit would be someone that we cared about. It's like, oh, they're going through this, but if he gives us a character that we don't like, and then wind up having empathy for when we see what he goes through, because he goes through a change. You know what I mean? A little too late.
Right.
But yeah, he was great, man. He was really good in that movie, especially when he was,
I forget his name.
before he became completely monster.
Then you have all the sympathy for him.
Oh,
He's making that artificial flower in the garbage.
Yeah, it's just his little, it's
You
still
know,
me.
I'm a human.
It's still me. Yeah.
I'm a human in a fucking alien body.
Yeah, it's still me. I'm still.
Oh,
here.
it's so sad. You feel so sympathetic for the aliens, especially when they're against.
Of course, I mean we're made to right off the bat.
Like,
and with his character, we're made to see the type of asshole that's mistreating these people.
How about the whole
So
scene?
the guy that's doing part of, the people that are mistreating, we're not supposed to like or have any sympathy for this guy. That's the guy that was supposed to be like, we can't wait for him to get his. But when he does get his, he becomes our, you know what I mean? Yeah, well, not even our hero. Like, our hearts bleed out for this guy.
No, he becomes the hero now because he's one of the hunted people now.
And his performance in it.
He's a great actor. He was in the remake of the A-Team.
That's another thing that movies, make or break on. And some movies, you don't know. They're a question mark the performance you're going to get out of an actor.
He's
at any
in
given
Chappie
scene
too.
or-
He
you
plays
know.
the robot in Chappie.
He does.
Yeah,
Interesting.
it's dope.
Well, I mean, obviously it's a CG.
He's a
thing,
really great.
But he does
fucking-
what, the voice for it? They digitize his voice or something.
Yeah, and he does all the motion capture shit too.
Yeah. Sigourney Weaver was in that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's got elements.
Death and the Maiden. Please tell me you've seen Death and the Maiden.
Of course, I've seen Death and the Maiden.
Ooh, I love that movie. That movie's basically a play. That's another movie that could be done. When I say it didn't need a budget. It's filmed in one little house, lake house, or on the edge of a cliff in the woods, and it's 3 characters, and the movie grips you from the very beginning and doesn't let go until the very end. And then at the very end, I mean, spoiler alert for anyone who hasn't seen Death and the Maiden, you must see Death and the Maiden. It's in my top. I say it's in my top, 40 films of all time, I say. But then again, I'm a huge Sigourney Weaver fan.
You're a Sigourney Weaver.
But that movie's
You're
awesome.
a lover of her work.
But the ending of that is great when they do that last little scene at the end where they're at the opera
Right.
and they look.
I
up.
haven't seen it in a while.
She looks up and he's there with the family, and he's just staring at her at the whole time, not even watching the opera. That was really. That movie hits you in the chest, man. All right, Greg. With that being said, I should. You know what? That should be my thing at the end of every episode.
With that being said, Rob,
It's a shame that people aren't going to understand why we're laughing at that phrase.
they're gonna want to know what the inside
They're
joke
going to want
is.
to know what with that being said means.
It's not a thing anyway.
Anyway, it's part
With that being said, though,
yeah.
it's a fine piece of cinema, Alien. I don't know how much more you can, dive into it.
You're just going to say stuff that have been said by millions of
Yeah,
people.
exactly.
Over and over
It's just
again.
it's a great
not-
film. It's up in our archives of movies that we love.
It's up there in the top for me. Might
Yeah.
be my favorite.
I like the whole Alien genre. I just love it all. It's
I love the whole franchise.
yeah, the whole franchise. I'm a fan. I'll always go see any new stuff about it. But
I actually
did you ever like the Alien
we should
Predator
see Life,
ones?
because apparently Life has some similarities to Alien.
Yeah,
Life form killing
yeah,
on a spaceship. So I don't know. I'd check it out.
right.
I like what's his name? I don't know why I'm forgetting the actor's name. It's terrible.
Sterile. Anyway, go see the go rent the movie. Go watch it if you haven't seen it.
Yep. So what do you say, Greg? Our next episode, we go see Valerian and tear it a new asshole?
Yeah, I think we should go do a movie review of something out now.
Yeah. We could bitch about the young actors and how stupid it is.
Yeah,
and
it's
how the
it's
story
sci-fi.
suffers. I'm already predicting the bad things I'm going to say, but I know it's going to be visually beautiful. I mean,
Yeah,
the trailer gives us a nice tease of these beautiful alien
Yeah.
worlds, and so that's what I'm going.
Did
I'm
you like
going
The Fifth
for.
Element?
Yes, Fifth Element's a great
yeah.
movie.
So that's why I have to go see
Yeah,
it.
we
I
can
like
talk
The
about
Fifth
that
Element. Yeah.
another time. I don't know if I want to
Yeah.
dedicate a whole episode to it, but
No,
yeah,
no.
that's a
We can do.
That's a great movie.
We could talk about Luc
There's a lot to
Besson.
like
Luc
about that.
Besson movies.
yeah.
Luc Besson. But-
I don't know. I have a feeling as a story and as a movie, I have a feeling that Fifth Element's going to come out on top for me on that. But of
Oh,
course,
yeah.
visuals, this one's got the advantage.
Yeah, for
already,
his-
just
for
by
his-
looking at the trailer.
His sci-fi movies he's done. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that'll be the next one.
All right, sounds good.
Sounds like
so
a plan.
Valerian review and dissection and post-mortem possibly.
Wow.
If you think the movie sucks that bad, we'll see.
Wow,
We'll
you
see.
really.
You know me, I'm tough, man. I give.
Yeah. Jeez.
I don't give high scores easily.
Jeez Louise. Yeah, you didn't even give
I'm
high scores for
vicious.
the Star Wars
I'm
movies.
vicious. Yeah, I'm vicious.
Yeah, I was like, wow. Yeah, I hear you.
I'm dangerous.
I hear you.
I'll
All right,
put my
kiddies.
calls. Anyways, thank you everyone for joining us for Theater Investigative Team Show. And we will see you next time on T.I.T.S, baby.
See ya.